Diana materializes within the grand throne room of Hades, lord of the underworld itself. The vast chamber stretches endlessly into shadow, its obsidian walls decorated with the souls of the damned. Without hesitation, the Amazon princess drops to one knee before the throne where death itself holds court. "Princess, let's see that pretty face," Hades commands from his seat of power. His form consists of swirling divine particles and cosmic energy, topped by a crown of crimson fire that hovers above his otherworldly presence. Diana offers no resistance and removes her battle helmet, revealing her face to the god of death. "Lovely princess, you cannot leave the underworld," he declares with absolute authority. Diana raises her head slightly, meeting the fearsome deity's gaze with a subtle smile. "Except I did," she responds softly, her words carrying quiet defiance. Hades' eyes smolder with divine fury as he glares down at this mortal who dares challenge his dominion. "Yes, you did, and we'll be getting to how you did that in short order. But first, disarm yourself, princess," he orders with growing irritation. Diana gestures toward her armor with apparent innocence, pointing out that she carries no visible weapons. But Hades possesses the wisdom of ages and recognizes that as a true witch, nearly everything she wears serves as a potential instrument of destruction. The princess sighs with resignation and begins unclipping her magical armor, each piece clattering to the marble floor. "I am surprised, sire. You are a god, and yet you fear my weapons?" she observes with calculated boldness. Hades dismisses her implication with arrogant confidence. "Curiosity rules this more than fear, I'd say," he replies, noting that Diana's sharp tongue clearly comes from her witch mother's training. Finally, Diana stands before the god wearing only her simple undergarments, surrounded by the discarded pieces of her mystical armor. "Better?" she asks with forced compliance. Hades shakes his head and gestures toward the leather pouch at Diana's feet. "Do you think I can't smell an enchanted pouch? The magic coming off that thing might as well have cartoonish stink lines." "Empty it," he commands with growing impatience. Diana sighs once more and reaches for the mystical container. Raw magical energy escapes the bag as she withdraws every concealed object. Her massive buster sword clatters against the stone floor, and she carefully places her 3 distinct lassos beside the blade. Hades almost allows himself to smile at this display. "Just what every growing girl needs, I see," he whispers with dark amusement. He turns to one of his demonic minions and orders the creature to retrieve the crimson lasso for closer examination. "I'd advise against that, sire," Diana warns quietly, her voice carrying genuine concern rather than defiance. The foolish minion reaches toward the glowing rope, and the moment its clawed hand makes contact, the creature suddenly erupts into supernatural flames before vanishing completely from existence. Diana nods toward the spot where the demon once stood. "None may wield the nemesis lasso but me, my liege," she explains with matter-of-fact authority. Hades finally rises from his throne, walking down the obsidian steps to stand directly before the Amazon princess. His towering presence looms over her mortal form. "We would not have crafted such dangerous weapons in such a dangerous place unless we could be certain they would not be misused by others," Diana explains further, her tactical wisdom evident in every word. The god of death stares down at the 3 mystical lassos with newfound respect. "You and your mother have been busy," he acknowledges with grudging admiration. Diana allows herself another small smile, pointing out that surviving in such a perilous realm forces one to treat weapons as extensions of their own body. "Tell me what this nemesis lasso is made from," Hades demands, his curiosity now fully aroused. Diana's confident expression falters as memories of her island home flood her mind. She begins explaining how, as a young child, Sussy would send her on simple errands to gather common weeds and basic plants. As she matured, these missions became increasingly dangerous, requiring her to seek rare and powerful ingredients from the most treacherous corners of hell itself. "It was only when she sent me to Prometheus that I began to understand the true scope of my mother's vision," Diana reveals softly, her voice heavy with the weight of that pivotal memory. The throne room seems to grow darker as she prepares to share this tale of divine sacrifice and mortal courage. Lightning tears across the hellish sky as young Diana climbs the treacherous slopes of Mount Prometheus. Torrential rain pounds against her exposed arms while she struggles up the mountainside, desperate to remain invisible to whatever divine eyes might be watching her forbidden ascent. Finally, she reaches the plateau where the Titan Prometheus remains chained to the living rock, enduring his eternal punishment for gifting fire to humanity. Diana studies the imprisoned god for a long moment before unhooking her great battle axe. She draws the blade across her own arm, using her blood to cast an enhancement spell that causes the weapon to glow with supernatural power. Prometheus notices the intruder for the first time as mystical energy radiates from her enchanted axe. Diana raises the weapon high above her head. "I ask your forgiveness, Lord Prometheus," she shouts over the rumbling thunder. With tremendous effort, she hurls the blessed weapon across the plateau, watching as it crashes through the divine chains that bind the Titan. Prometheus examines his temporary freedom before retrieving the axe and returning it to the young warrior. Diana immediately kneels before him in respectful supplication. "Forgiveness for my inadequacy. I confess I have not the power to free you permanently, but I thought a respite might be welcome," she offers humbly. The ancient Titan smiles down at her with genuine warmth. "It is indeed, princess," he rumbles with deep appreciation. Both look skyward as Zeus's eagle approaches to continue the god's punishment, but Diana calls out to the magnificent bird. It lands gracefully on her extended arm, and she speaks to it in the ancient tongue of beasts, asking it to postpone its grim duty. After the eagle departs, Diana turns back to Prometheus, who observes her with growing admiration. "Circe has been clever. I am happy to see she's not lost a step since becoming trapped in the underworld. I am even happier to see that her daughter is much the same," he tells her as he settles into temporary comfort. Diana admits she has come seeking more than just his freedom. "Well, princess, ask for your boon," Prometheus encourages. Diana produces a crystal vial and kneels once more, confessing her need for his divine blood to create a weapon dedicated solely to protecting humanity from monsters and even gods themselves, should such action become necessary. After careful consideration, Prometheus extends his massive hand. "Strike me and cleave a small piece of my finger, so your weapon might be powered by my flesh and blood," he commands. Diana expresses her gratitude, raises her axe, and carefully slices through the tip of his finger. "Bless this offering of flesh and blood in Hecate's name," she whispers while collecting the severed piece. She fills her vial with his flowing divine blood, speaking ancient words of consecration. "May it bring justice to the world as Prometheus so divines. The blood of Prometheus, god of fire, fire of life, we thank you for your sacrifice." But the Titan has one final gift. Where his blood has spilled upon the ground, supernatural fire erupts, and a skeletal horse pulls itself from the earth itself. "Diana, my last gift to you," Prometheus declares, introducing her to the reborn Pegasus. Pegasus, like so many, has been radicalized by injustice. "You will make a fine pair." He bids her farewell, urging departure before Zeus's punishment resumes. Diana mounts her new companion and flies away into the storm. Back in Hades' throne room, Diana concludes her tale of divine generosity. The god of the underworld nods thoughtfully, sensing additional power within the mystical rope. The lasso contains more than Prometheus's essence, he observes with supernatural perception. Diana admits the weapon also incorporates remains from the last basilisk in existence. "You killed the last basilisk?" Hades questions with genuine surprise. Diana begins another tale, explaining how Zeus, displeased with both her and Circe's continued existence, had repeatedly sent the legendary creature to destroy them. This final time, she tracked the monster to its hidden lair deep within Hell's most dangerous regions. She crept inward, knowing that direct eye contact with the basilisk meant instant death. Taking desperate precautions, she used magic to remove her own eyesight temporarily. When the creature attempted to use its deadly gaze, It found only sightless eyes that rendered its primary weapon useless. "Princess," the confused monster hissed with growing frustration. Diana had prepared for this moment, understanding all the basilisk's weaknesses. In addition to blinding herself, she also eliminated her sense of smell before throwing a magical vial that overwhelmed the creature's other senses. The basilisk roared in agony and prepared its final attack, but Diana met its charge and severed its head with one decisive strike. Hades returns to his throne, settling heavily upon the seat of absolute power. "The last basilisk," he whispers with something approaching reverence for her achievement. Finally, he leans forward, his eyes blazing with renewed fury as he fixes his terrible gaze upon Diana. "This has all been very educational," he states with ominous finality. With a casual wave of his divine hand, something descends from the darkness above, suspended in spectral chains that bind both body and soul. Diana's eyes widen in absolute shock and horror as she recognizes her beloved mother, Circe, hanging helplessly with her mouth sealed by iron restraints. "Mother," Diana whispers, tears forming in her eyes as she witnesses her greatest fear made manifest. Hades leans back upon his throne with obvious satisfaction. At last, no more smart remarks from that too-sharp tongue of yours," he declares with cruel triumph. "We all have weaknesses, princess. Yours was quite easy to pinpoint. The god of death has found the one leverage that can break even the last Amazon's indomitable spirit, the safety of the woman who raised her in hell's darkest depths." In the distant past, young Diana races along the rocky shores of the Wild Isle, chasing after one of her beloved pet monsters through the twisted landscape of hell. She rounds a corner at full speed, but stops abruptly when she discovers an unexpected visitor waiting for her rival. "Lady Fanny," Diana whispers with reverence and surprise. The queen of the underworld stands gracefully among the barren rocks, her presence bringing an otherworldly elegance to the desolate surroundings. She nods with maternal warmth and smiles, motioning the young girl to approach without fear. "Hello, Diana. Come meet my tree," she offers with gentle invitation. Diana steps forward, her eyes widening in amazement to discover an actual tree growing on their cursed island home. Fanny explains with melancholy wisdom that she remains trapped in hell like all its residents, but everywhere she walks, life follows in her footsteps as a gift from her divine nature. She stands and extends her hand toward the young Amazon with genuine affection. But in the underworld, everything dies almost instantly. Sometimes something very special breaks through. "Come, show me the rest of your home, Diana. Perhaps we can encourage more to grow," she suggests with hopeful determination. Diana's face lights up with joy as she takes the queen's offered hand. "I'd like that. Mother always needs more plants," she responds with innocent enthusiasm. The two begin walking together along the beach, their footsteps creating small patches of green life in the sand. Fanny looks down at the young Amazon and, almost as an afterthought, begins sharing an ancient tale. "Have you ever heard the story of how I became the queen of the underworld, Diana? It involves a kidnapping and some very diabolical pomegranate seeds." The queen begins with mysterious significance. In the present moment, Queen Fanny watches with keen interest as a massive chimera wraps its powerful paws around Diana's throat in the gladiatorial arena. The seasoned warrior twists expertly out of the monster's deadly grasp and strikes back with tremendous force, sending the creature tumbling across the arena of the damned. Quite the fight, Fanny observes with casual appreciation for the combat skills on display. Hades nods his ethereal head while continuing to watch the brutal spectacle unfold before them. "Thank you, wife," he responds absent-mindedly, his attention focused entirely on the violence below. The chimera recovers quickly and takes a deep breath before releasing a devastating roar. Torrents of flame erupt from its maw, forcing Diana to retreat several steps to avoid being incinerated. The creature seizes this opportunity to rush forward and rake its razor-sharp claws across her body. The Amazon gasps in pain as blood flows freely from her fresh wounds. Hades smiles with cruel satisfaction and glances toward his other captive, Circe, who sits beside his throne wrapped in heavy chains with her mouth sealed by divine restraints. Tears stream down her face as she witnesses her daughter's suffering in the arena below. Care to place a wager, Circe? Hades taunts with malicious amusement. In earlier days on the Wild Isle, Circe kneels before their humble hearth, whispering softly to avoid awakening Diana, who sleeps peacefully nearby. She bows her head in supplication, calling out desperately for divine guidance. Hecate, please answer me. This is for Diana, and I must demand an audience with you now. She pleads with urgent maternal love. Suddenly, flames whoosh upward from their simple fire, and Hecate's blazing head appears within the hearth, illuminating their entire cave dwelling. Speak fast, Circe. I only have seconds, the goddess commands with divine urgency. Circe nods quickly and explains her desperate situation. She understands what must be accomplished, but lacks knowledge of how to free her young daughter from hell's eternal prison. How am I to accomplish this impossible task? She pleads with growing desperation. The fiery divine head nods with knowing wisdom. There will be 2 escapes. The first is temporary, you need not concern yourself with that. The second is more permanent, but the path has been laid. Hecate explains with prophetic certainty. Circe struggles to understand these cryptic words, but Hecate cannot elaborate further. Ears are everywhere, Circe, she whispers with caution, promising that she foresaw Zeus's plotting long ago and began a counter-game in response. The way has been prepared. The goddess reveals that she once told Hades a particular fairy tale that impressed him greatly in ancient times. Before she can explain further, a strong breeze sweeps through their cave, extinguishing the supernatural fire. Circe sighs and looks upward in frustration. The mysterious breeze stirs again, knocking a specific book from its shelf. She retrieves the fallen volume and opens it to reveal the tale, The Lady or the Tiger. Later that evening, Circe and Diana lie together in their shared bed as the mother begins telling her daughter this crucial story. Once upon a time, long ago, there was a beautiful princess. Circe begins while turning the ancient pages with careful reverence. As the tale unfolds, Circe speaks of a princess who falls deeply in love with a handsome young man. However, the king refuses to permit their marriage because the man possesses no royal blood, merely a poor farmer seeking love above his station. The enraged king orders the man taken to the royal arena, where he must face an impossible choice between 2 identical doors. Behind one door waits a beautiful woman who will become his bride. Behind the other lurks a hungry tiger and certain death. Can't he reason with the tiger or fight it? Young Diana asks with practical curiosity. Circe smiles faintly and shakes her head with gentle correction. No, Diana. Most people can neither communicate with tigers nor fight them and live. The princess in the story promises to signal her lover toward the correct door to ensure his survival. But she discovers that the beautiful woman behind one door is someone she despises, a rival who once captured the man's affections. Now jealousy clouds her decision between saving her love's life or condemning him to avoid losing him to another. When the crucial moment arrives, the man looks up at the princess with complete trust. She signals her choice, and he walks confidently toward the door she indicates without hesitation. Circe closes the book with finality. The end. Diana sits up in confusion and frustration. Wait, what? We don't know what happened. She protests with genuine distress. I think that's the point, darling. Circe replies softly with meaningful wisdom. Over the following years, Diana contemplates this story repeatedly, attempting to decipher its hidden meaning. Finally, as a teenager, understanding dawns with crystal clarity. Back in the present arena, Diana punches the chimera once more before spinning and delivering a devastating kick that sends the creature flying across the combat space. Fanny sighs with growing boredom and glances at her husband with mild irritation. Tell me again, what is the point of the fighting, husband? She inquires with barely concealed disdain. Hades shrugs with casual indifference. Well, you know I like a good fight, and sometimes someone loses a limb. Very exciting, he responds with bloodthirsty enthusiasm. Diana wipes blood from her nose as the enraged monster prepares another charge. I am sorry, sister. Yield and fight another day, she pleads with genuine compassion for her opponent. But the chimera roars in fury and launches itself forward in a final desperate attack. Diana catches the creature by its throat and slams it to the arena floor with decisive force. She is beaten, Hades. Do not make me kill her, she shouts upward toward the throne. Only one may leave the arena, princess, Hades calls back with merciless authority. Diana glares at the god with burning defiance. If you force me to kill her for nothing more than sport, you are not the god I thought you might be, and it will draw a fateful line between us. Left with no alternative, she twists the chimera's head until bones snap, then lowers the body gently to the ground. Rest easy in your next life, sister. Forgive me, she whispers with sorrowful respect. She tends to her wounds briefly before beginning to recite an ancient spell. Her eyes glow with supernatural power as magic pours from her body in visible waves. She rises from the arena floor through sheer force of will. Hades, you are no god. No lord. You are the warden of a prison. Nothing more, Diana declares with absolute conviction. Hades' ethereal form pulses with divine fury at this unprecedented challenge. You dare speak so to me, Lord of the Underworld, he roars with wounded pride. I do, Diana growls in response, her power radiating outward and actually forcing the god backward. How? How is she this powerful? He hisses with growing alarm and confusion. My power comes from being unjustly trapped in hell, she explains with righteous anger. I believe we have a game to finish. A game of two doors. Hades glares with frustrated rage, then gestures toward two massive doors that materialize in the arena walls. Pick a door, princess. Behind one, death. Behind the other, freedom. But if you win, you may never return to the underworld until your death. He pauses to smile cruelly at Circe, and your wild isle will be barren stone for all eternity. Diana notices the single tear falling from her mother's eye, but Circe gives the smallest possible nod of encouragement. Just as in the ancient story, Diana trusts her mother completely. She flies to the indicated door and pushes it open, releasing brilliant golden light that spills across the arena. Thank you for trusting me, mother, she whispers with profound gratitude. Instead of walking through to freedom, Diana turns away from the open door and rises back into the air above the arena. What's this? Hades snaps with confusion and growing anger. You've won your freedom. You may not return. Diana ignores his protests, flying directly to her mother's side and snapping the divine chains with her bare hands. About that, it seems I once ate some pomegranate seeds your wife gave me, Diana says with deceptive lightness. Hades whirls toward Fanny with sudden understanding and fury. What have you done? He demands of his queen. The queen shrugs with innocent satisfaction. I did nothing but feed her one of your treasured seeds. She must return 1 month each year for every seed taken. But she did this out of love. She was not tricked as I was. Want to break the rules, husband? You'll have your win, but you'll lose your bride. Hades glares at Diana with impotent rage, his divine form beginning to dissolve into swirling mist. This is not finished, princess. You've made a grave miscalculation and a motivated enemy. With these ominous words, he vanishes completely from the arena. Later, Diana carries her mother through the air back to their beloved Wild Isle, the familiar rocky shores appearing below them like a vision of home. I promise to return. I'll send you a message as soon as I build the Cheer-In in Gateway City as we planned, Diana says while extending her hand in formal farewell. In Hecate's name, fare thee well, mother. Sussy clasps her daughter's hand with fierce maternal love. In Hecate's name, daughter. She whispers through tears of pride and sorrow, watching as Diana prepares to face the world above and fulfill her destiny as the last Amazon. Diana awakens in the untamed wilderness of Gateway City, surrounded by nature's gentle creatures who have gathered around her resting form. A peaceful smile crosses her face as she observes the small animals that have sought her presence. She reaches down and carefully lifts a pigeon into her hands with tender care. "Hello, my darling. Are you next?" she asks quietly while examining the bird with maternal affection. The pigeon coos softly in response as Diana attaches a small message scroll to its delicate leg with practiced precision. She repeats this ritual with each winged visitor, giving every creature its own mystical communication to carry across the world. "Please, my friends, search far and wide for my sisters. Bring me news of them and take my message to them in turn. Go in faith and hope. Hecate protects you and all you love." Diana speaks to her feathered messengers with divine authority and boundless hope. The birds take flight in perfect formation, their wings carrying them toward distant horizons until they disappear completely from sight. Diana watches their departure with quiet determination. "Thank you," she whispers into the morning air, knowing that her search for the lost Amazons has truly begun. In an undisclosed facility hidden within the western United States, Director Veronica Cale arrives at the heavily fortified compound known as Area 41, headquarters of a global anti-terrorism organization shrouded in government secrecy. Cale moves through the security checkpoint without acknowledging the armed guards, her authoritative presence granting her unrestricted access to the facility's most classified levels. She enters an elevator that descends deep underground to sublevel 7. "How's her mood?" Cale inquires of the security technician while gazing down at a glass containment cell suspended in the chamber below. The nervous woman shifts uncomfortably before responding. "She's, a bit agitated," she admits with obvious understatement. Cale nods with resigned understanding and releases a weary sigh. "That explains the 79 emails I've received from her this morning," she notes while pulling on a protective gas mask and preparing to enter the dangerous containment area. "Keep your hand on that button while I'm in there," she orders over her shoulder with stern authority. The technician nods quickly, her finger hovering over the emergency venting controls for the specialized cell. Cale steels herself mentally before activating the door release mechanism. The reinforced barriers slide open, and she approaches the transparent prison with cautious confidence. "Cale, you unbelievable," Dr. Poison growls as she turns to confront her unexpected visitor through the thick glass walls. Cale remains silent while taking a seat before the containment unit with professional composure. "Dr. Poison, what on earth can I do to please you today?" she finally asks with barely concealed irritation. The imprisoned scientist stalks forward in her bulky containment suit and pounds against the glass barrier with frustrated fury, demanding immediate improvements to her outdated equipment. "For the last time, I have people working on it," Cale responds while reminding the captive that significant new developments have occurred within the past 24 hours. "I don't care about your stupid Wonder Woman. I care about a new suit so I can get my fine motor skills back. Do you know how hard it is to do delicate experiments in this World War II relic?" Poison snaps with growing agitation. Cale allows herself a slight smile beneath her protective mask while producing a specialized recording device. "You're going to change your tune when I play something for you. I'm curious if you'll have a different reaction to it, since you're non-corporeal." Dr. Poison suddenly slides out of her mechanical suit, revealing her true form as sentient poison gas that swirls with malevolent intelligence. Cale activates the recording, and the gaseous entity immediately begins convulsing with visible pain, ripples of agony passing through its toxic substance. After several moments, Cale stops the playback, and Poison stares at the device with newfound fascination. "See what you can do with it. I know it's not your specialty, but you're simply one of my best, Poison. I'll check in at the end of the week," Cale states while passing the recording through the security slot before standing to depart. The scientist slides back into her protective suit and immediately begins working with renewed enthusiasm, her previous complaints forgotten as scientific inspiration takes hold. Back in Gateway City, Steve Trevor guides Barbara Minerva and the Candy Sisters through the urban landscape toward Diana's chosen sanctuary deep within the metropolitan wilderness. The small group emerges into a pristine forest clearing that seems impossibly untouched by civilization's influence. "Wow," Barbara breathes while absorbing the natural beauty surrounding them. Her archaeological instincts draw her toward an ancient stone positioned in the center of the clearing, and she begins extending her hand toward its weathered surface. "Look at this stone," she whispers with academic excitement. Diana materializes with supernatural grace, gently grasping Barbara's wrist before contact can be made. Please don't touch the stone, Barbara. It is untouched by human hands, and I need it to stay that way just a bit longer. You may examine it at your leisure when I finish, she explains with polite but firm authority. Barbara nods with obvious disappointment, but withdraws her hand respectfully. All right, she whispers with reluctant understanding. Diana expresses gratitude for their presence and accepts the mystical ingredients that Gia has carefully prepared for this moment. This property is worth a couple million easy. They're not just going to let you have this, Diana, much as they should. Ida observes with practical concern about legal ownership. I think you'll find that I own it already. The land is mine, though owning land is admittedly an odd concept to me. Diana replies with a mysterious smile that hints at powers beyond mortal comprehension. She begins arranging the magical components with ritualistic precision while requesting that her friends step outside the clearing during her spellcasting preparations. Barbara attempts to argue her desire to observe and study the process, but Steve firmly takes her arm with knowing wisdom. Barbara, you'll soon learn to question her less. Trust me, he whispers as they retreat to a safe distance. Alone within the sacred space, Diana examines her assembled ingredients with reverent concentration. She draws her knife and makes a careful incision along her arm, allowing her blood to flow as the spell requires. Her eyes begin glowing with divine power as she calls upon the greatest goddesses, Hecate, Athena, Artemis, Hestia, Aphrodite, Demeter, and Hera, to bless her sanctuary and aid her noble quest. The earth trembles beneath her feet as ancient stone pushes upward from the soil itself. When Diana opens her eyes once more, a magnificent marble dwelling stands where only wilderness existed moments before. Steve and the others return to discover this architectural miracle with expressions of complete amazement. This was absolutely not here 5 minutes ago. This is insane, Barbara whispers in academic disbelief. Steve smiles with fond familiarity. This is knowing Diana. The door opens gracefully, and Diana emerges with welcoming warmth radiating from her presence.
Come.
I've made tea, she calls with domestic hospitality that contrasts beautifully with her supernatural abilities. The group settles into comfortable conversation over steaming cups of herbal tea until Diana suddenly turns with sharp alertness. Do you hear that? She asks with growing concern. Her delicate teacup falls to the floor, shattering as pain and confusion cross her beautiful features. She moves urgently toward the exit with supernatural instincts guiding her actions. I have to go. You stay here. You'll be safer, she declares before leaping into the air and flying away with incredible speed, leaving her friends to wonder what new threat has emerged to challenge their Amazon protector. Moments later, Diana arrives at Union Square to discover a horrifying scene unfolding below. Small mechanical spiders crawl across the concrete surfaces, each device broadcasting a strange variation of the Tetraside's deadly call that once terrorized Gateway City. The artificial creatures spread their psychological poison through the crowded public space. Hecate, give me strength to persevere, Diana whispers desperately before diving toward the ground and attacking the mechanical swarm while pulling terrified civilians to safety. But the sheer number of devices overwhelms even her supernatural capabilities. Her tactical mind quickly assesses the situation with growing frustration. She needs them to focus their attention on her rather than innocent bystanders. She needs to become a more obvious threat to their programming. Diana retrieves a glowing potion from her mystical pouch and smashes it against the pavement with decisive force. Magical flames engulf her entire body, and the mechanical spiders instantly pivot toward this new priority target. They swarm over her form while their horrific noise weakens her supernatural defenses through psychological manipulation. Gritting her teeth against the auditory assault, Diana slams her fists into the ground with tremendous force, destroying large sections of the mechanical army in a single devastating impact. She launches herself skyward, spinning rapidly to shake off the remaining attackers while scanning for their source of origin. Her enhanced vision locates the origin point, The mechanical spiders are emerging from a nearby construction site like an endless metallic plague. I hope whoever's up there likes getting punched in the throat. She growls with violent determination while flying directly toward the unfinished building. Diana lands on the upper floors with bone-shaking impact and kicks through incomplete drywall with supernatural strength. Whoever you are, I hope you've made peace with your creators. She bellows into the construction site, her eyes blazing with magical fury as she prepares for combat. Dr. Poison steps backward with her hands raised in immediate surrender, recognizing the impossibility of physical confrontation with this legendary warrior. Wait! Don't hit me! My name is Dr. Poison, and you're going to want to hear me out, princess, she shouts with desperate urgency. Diana stops her advance abruptly, surprised by this unexpected development and the stranger's knowledge of her royal title. The scientist delivers the words that change everything with calculated precision. I know where you can find an Amazon, Poison reveals with triumphant satisfaction. Diana's eyes widen in absolute shock as the possibility she has dreamed of since childhood suddenly becomes tangible reality before her eyes. High above Gateway City's glittering skyline, Diana suspends Dr. Poison by her containment suit over the edge of an unfinished skyscraper. The scientist dangles precariously in the Amazon's iron grip, the city sprawling far below like a carpet of lights and shadows. Behind them, the mechanical Tetris spiders continue their relentless march, broadcasting their horrific psychological signal throughout the construction site. First things first, Doctor. Turn off your monstrous Tetris spiders, Diana commands with unwavering authority as the tiny mechanical horrors stalk closer to their position. Dr. Poison scrambles desperately to grab hold of Diana's arm, seeking any stable anchor in her terrifying predicament. Bring me in. The controls are inside, she stammers with barely controlled panic. Diana studies the captured scientist with cold calculation before responding to her plea. No games, Doctor. You have seen what I will do to save this city. Do not think yourself special, she warns with deadly seriousness before hurling the woman back through the window into the construction site's interior. Dr. Poison recovers quickly and crawls across the debris-covered floor toward her laptop, her fingers flying across the keyboard as she inputs the necessary shutdown commands. She glances nervously over her shoulder at the imposing Amazon warrior. There's toxic gas in this suit. If you toss me out the window, it's sure to leak out and kill people, she warns with calculated desperation. Moments later, every mechanical spider freezes in place throughout the construction site. Their terrible broadcast signal cuts off abruptly, leaving only blessed silence in its wake. Diana steps forward and crushes one of the devices in her bare hand, studying its intricate mechanical components with growing confusion and disgust. Did your government do this to you, Doctor? She inquires with genuine curiosity about the woman's circumstances. Dr. Poison shakes her head while beginning to pack her equipment. Not exactly, she replies with bitter resignation. Diana's expression darkens as understanding dawns. They gave you this sound, didn't they? This poor recording of the Tetracide song. Unconscionable behavior. She growls with righteous anger building in her voice. The imprisoned scientist continues organizing her equipment while making a pointed observation. You're angrier with your government than you were with the giant monster that tried to kill the world, she notes with scientific detachment. Diana's response carries the weight of moral conviction and ancient wisdom. That was an ancient monster from another world, doing only what it knew how to do. It was not a clever human harnessing dangerous weapons it didn't understand, only to use them to purposely hurt fellow citizens. Diana positions herself directly in Dr. Poison's path, blocking any attempt at escape with her commanding presence. Call all the Tetris spiders back to the skyscraper so we can destroy them, she orders with non-negotiable authority. The scientist begins to protest with obvious reluctance. I didn't agree to. Diana gestures toward the shattered window with meaningful threat. Have you forgotten about the window, Doctor? Dr. Poison releases a defeated sigh and returns to her laptop, executing the recall commands with resigned efficiency. Behind her, Diana kneels on the concrete floor and begins tracing glowing mystical sigils with a magical potion, her fingers leaving trails of supernatural light across the surface. "Tell me how you know of an Amazon. Tell me about my sister," she says at last, her voice carrying desperate hope beneath its steady control. Dr. Poison continues her technical work while explaining the classified information that could cost her life. In the lowest levels of Area 41, there is an ancient maze. There are all kinds of things trapped inside. Some were there when the maze was discovered. Others were put there by the government. Some are human. Others are creatures they don't understand. Diana's attention focuses, like a laser beam, on this crucial intelligence. "And was my sister someone you put in the maze, or someone already there?" she presses with sharp urgency. "The Amazon was already there," Dr. Poison answers with simple honesty. By now, hundreds of mechanical spiders have gathered around Diana's position, drawn by her recall signal. She activates her completed spell, and a swirling portal opens directly in the floor beneath them. The mechanical creatures scuttle into the dimensional gateway and vanish completely from existence. Dr. Poison backs away in terror as she witnesses this display of supernatural power. "What have you done? Where are they going?" she demands with growing fear. Diana's response is delivered with casual finality. "To hell. Don't do this again, Doctor. I'll be watching." She rises gracefully into the air and flies out through the broken window into Gateway City's night sky. Later, Diana returns to her forest sanctuary and shares Dr. Poison's revelations with her assembled friends. Steve, Barbara, and the Candy sisters listen with growing concern as she describes the mysterious maze and its imprisoned inhabitants. "It's clearly a trap," Steve warns with protective instinct and military experience guiding his assessment. Diana nods while gathering ingredients for her mystical potions, her movements efficient and purposeful despite the obvious danger ahead. "Regardless of whether it's a trap or not, I must find this lost Amazon. There is nothing I wouldn't try, nowhere I wouldn't go, for the faintest hope of finding a sister," she declares with unshakable determination. Her words carry the weight of centuries of loneliness and the burning need to discover others of her kind. Steve follows her deeper into the sanctuary, his worry evident in every gesture. "That maze is being used as a prison. You don't even know how to get inside," he protests with practical concerns about infiltrating a classified government facility. But Diana has already begun mixing her portal potion with practiced expertise. She lifts a decorative vase, pours the crimson liquid across her floor in precise patterns, and dips her hand into the mystical substance. "Stephen, you know me well enough to know I make my own doors," Diana says with confident satisfaction as she traces the outline of a doorway against her wall while whispering ancient words of power. Her friends step backward in amazement as magical energy pulses through the room like visible lightning. Diana steps through the shimmering portal with unwavering resolve, and the dimensional gateway closes behind her, leaving only empty air where it once existed. Diana materializes within a dark and ancient stone maze that reeks of centuries-old decay and forgotten horrors. The oppressive atmosphere presses against her like a living thing, and she wrinkles her nose against the overwhelming stench of death and despair. She casts a glowing sigil upon the entrance wall, leaving a golden mark to remember her point of arrival in this nightmare labyrinth. From her magical pouch, she retrieves an enchanted torch whose supernatural light cuts through the absolute darkness like a blade. Diana begins moving through the twisting corridors with careful precision, noting how the passages all begin to look identical in their ancient construction. The monotonous stone walls stretch endlessly in every direction, creating a maze designed to trap and confuse even the most skilled navigator. Suddenly, the sounds of violent battle echo from somewhere ahead in the labyrinth's depths. Diana increases her pace and races down the hallway, following the sounds of combat until she rounds a corner to discover a scene of absolute carnage. Strange fish-like creatures with humanoid features are launching a coordinated attack against a lone minotaur who fights desperately to protect something precious. Diana dons her helmet of war and draws the nemesis lasso with practiced fluidity. She hurls herself into the chaotic battle, pulling one of the fish creatures to safety before wrapping her mystical rope around the minotaur's massive arm. She needs absolute clarity about his nature and intentions. The lasso constricts as she searches his soul for truth, Either it will bring him to his knees in agony, or prove his fundamental innocence. Moments later, she steps back and releases him from her weapon's supernatural grip. "Apologies, friend. I don't know what this is, but you have my axe," she says with genuine respect for his noble spirit. Whirling back toward the attacking fishmen, she lashes out with renewed purpose. "Or perhaps the lasso will do," she adds while moving to stand back to back with her newfound ally, the siren named Petra. "What do we fight for, friend? Our lives, or something more?" Diana asks while engaging multiple opponents with deadly precision. The Minotaur grunts his response while driving back several attackers with his massive fists. "They want Petra," he explains, glancing toward a specific section of the maze wall. There, Diana discovers a young woman pressed against the ancient stones, a siren whose supernatural beauty remains evident despite her near-death condition. The Minotaur bellows with protective fury, driving back the aquatic attackers while Diana joins his desperate defense. Together they slash, punch, and bind their enemies with devastating coordination until the remaining fishmen begin to hesitate in their assault. "You have had but a taste of the nemesis lasso, fiends. It cries for your sin. Let it taste more. Come closer, I beg you." Diana taunts with psychological warfare designed to exploit their growing fear. Her strategy proves effective as the fish creatures retreat deeper into the maze's shadowy passages, abandoning their coordinated attack in favor of regrouping elsewhere. With the immediate battle concluded, Diana removes her war helmet and surveys their temporary victory. The Minotaur reaches down with gentle care and lifts the wounded siren in his powerful arms, cradling her like precious treasure. "We must go. I hear more menfish close by. They'll join together and redouble their attack," he warns with tactical wisdom born from long experience in this underground prison. Diana nods and moves alongside him and the injured siren as they retreat deeper into the maze's darkness. "Thank you for your timely assistance, stranger. I am Ferdinand." The Minotaur introduces himself with formal courtesy despite their desperate circumstances. He explains that he has lived within the labyrinth his entire existence and knows of safe places where they can hide from their pursuers. As they navigate the twisting passages, Diana seizes the opportunity to ask the crucial question that brought her to this place. "I know this is hardly the time, but have you seen an Amazon inside the maze?" Ferdinand considers her inquiry for several moments while carefully carrying his precious burden. "Some say Clea is an Amazon, though I've seen no proof other than her strength. She's the monster who has taken control of the maze. The woman who hunts Petra." They turn a corner and stop abruptly as a new scene unfolds before their eyes. The retreating fishmen are now kneeling in submission as a regal woman strides confidently across their bowed forms like living stepping stones. Her bearing speaks of absolute authority and cruel dominion over this underground realm. This imposing figure is clearly not the Clea they expected to encounter. "It's Queen Clea," she announces with imperious pride while glaring at both Ferdinand and Diana with undisguised contempt. "Ferdinand, you've always had a disrespectful tongue. I've grown weary of your screams. We'll cut it out so I never have to think of you again." Diana studies this self-proclaimed queen with her supernatural senses fully engaged, analyzing every detail of the woman's presence and power. Despite Queen Clea's impressive strength and commanding authority over the maze's inhabitants, Diana knows one thing with absolute certainty: this imposing figure possesses no trace of Amazon heritage in her blood or spirit. The search for her lost sister must continue, but first, they must survive this new and immediate threat to their lives. Diana positions herself protectively in front of Ferdinand and the wounded siren named Petra, her warrior instincts fully engaged despite the narrow confines of the ancient stone corridors. She glances at the seemingly young girl with growing concern, surprised that the siren makes no attempt to use her supernatural song against their enemies. Realization dawns that Petra may be unable to speak at all. Reaching into her mystical pouch, Diana draws her battle axe and prepares for the inevitable confrontation. "Don't let them get around us," Ferdinand rumbles with tactical wisdom as Queen Clea's fishmen rush forward at their ruler's commanding urging. Diana meets the aquatic warriors head-on with devastating force, ramming into the first attacker and slamming him against the unforgiving stone wall. Another falls to a precise slash from her enchanted axe before a third opponent is hurled over her shoulder like a discarded toy. The massive Minotaur joins her desperate defense, using his tremendous size and supernatural strength to bring more fishmen crashing down around them. But their temporary advantage quickly disappears as Clea shouts new orders to her forces with strategic cunning. "Prepare to fire, you fools," she bellows while directing her minions to bring up a deadly ballista weapon. Ferdinand recognizes the lethal danger immediately. He spins quickly, tossing fishmen aside like ragdolls while using his massive frame to shield both Diana and Petra from the incoming projectiles. The large wooden bolts sail forward as the weapon's drawstring releases with mechanical precision. The sharp projectiles pierce Ferdinand's flesh deeply, forcing a grunt of pain from the noble creature as he absorbs the devastating impact. Diana moves to assist her wounded ally, but he waves her away with selfless determination. "Go protect Petra. Get out if you can," Ferdinand rumbles softly despite his obvious agony. Diana nods with profound respect, placing her hand on his shoulder in recognition of his sacrifice. "Do not give up, my friend. I will be back for you. Have faith. You have the promise of Diana, which of the Wild Isle," she whispers with solemn oath. She pivots swiftly, scooping Petra into her arms before racing away into the maze's twisting passages. Behind them, the fishmen surge forward in overwhelming numbers, forcing the wounded Minotaur to the stone floor. "Bind him for travel, but bring me the siren now. I have waited long enough, and we'll deal with this strange interloper as we do all unwanted things," Clea declares with royal authority as she steps forward to claim her prizes. But her minions turn toward their queen with nervous uncertainty. Your Majesty, they're gone," one creature mutters with obvious fear of her reaction. Fury flashes across Clea's face, her eyes widening with rage at this unexpected development. "Find them and bring them to me. Kill the interloper, but I need the siren alive." Her voice booms, echoing through the labyrinth's ancient stone corridors like thunder. In the distant past, on the Wild Isle of Hell, a crucial test was about to begin. Ceci prepared her young daughter for battle with maternal care, tightening the buckles on Diana's armor and helmet while the Amazon child accepted her battle axe from one of the friendly demons who wandered their cursed home. Ceci took one final look at her daughter before pulling her into a fierce embrace. "Trust in yourself above all things, Diana, and all will be well," she whispered with profound love and concern. Diana smiled with youthful confidence, heading toward their door with unwavering determination. "Don't worry, Mama. I'm not afraid of gods," she called over her shoulder with innocent bravado. Darkness descended over the Wild Isle as supernatural fog rolled in from the surrounding hellish ocean. "Hello, I am Diana of the Wild Isle. Welcome to my home," she called out into the mysterious mist with genuine hospitality. The fog parted like a curtain, revealing a massive black panther with blood smeared across its predatory features. "Hello, Princess," the Black Panther spoke with calculated menace as it began circling her with predatory grace. Diana maintained her composure despite the obvious threat. "We do not have much, but what we have is yours," she offered with sincere generosity. The panther's response carried chilling coldness. It would take everything from her. The beast opened its massive jaws and lunged toward the young Amazon with killing intent. Diana remained perfectly still, refusing to react with violence. "Defend yourself, Princess," the panther demanded with growing frustration. "I will not fight you for no reason," Diana replied with simple moral conviction. The creature circled menacingly, promising to rend her flesh and crack her bones with savage brutality. "I accept it. I can bear it," Diana responded with unshakable courage. "Because you are weak," the panther growled before biting down on Diana's arm with crushing force, causing her to drop her weapon. "Now, will you fight?" it asked with cruel satisfaction. Diana shook her head with steadfast refusal. The panther's growl deepened at her continued defiance, then suddenly turned away toward a new target. A turtle had pulled itself onto their shore, and the predator charged toward this helpless creature with jaws wide open. But Diana's axe fell between predator and prey with protective determination. "He did nothing to you. Leave him be," she snapped with righteous anger. The panther smiled with approval at this development. "There you are, Wild One. I knew I could find you." Diana's hand began glowing with magical power as the panther pinned the turtle with its massive paw. "That creature is under my protection. You may not harm him," she growled with fierce protectiveness, leaping forward and slamming into the beast with supernatural strength. She struck repeatedly, her axe drawing blood as she fought to defend the innocent. But the panther charged back at her with renewed violence, testing her resolve through escalating combat. Later, their home's door swung open as Sussy searched for her daughter. "Diana," she called, but no one stood at the threshold. She stepped outside as the supernatural fog swirled and lifted, revealing the unconscious girl sprawled on the rocky shore with the turtle clutched protectively in her arms. "Safe. You'd be proud, Mama. I did good. This is Nico," Diana whispered faintly with satisfaction despite her injuries. Back inside their humble dwelling, Sussy tended her daughter's wounds with tears streaming down her face as she prayed to Hecate beside their fire. The smoke thickened and formed the divine image of the goddess herself. "Please, Heki, she's just a child," Sussy pleaded with maternal desperation. "We love the child as we love few things, but do not be confused about the reason for her existence," Hecate replied while stroking Diana's hair with divine affection. "Everything we do is to fashion her into a weapon, one that will be thrown into a system that must be destroyed. If you were making a weapon, for what reason make her a kind little girl?" "It's unfathomably cruel," Sussy whispered with anguished confusion. "She is kind because monsters do not comprehend kindness, and because she is herself," Hecate explained with cosmic wisdom. "No one imagined her this way, this pure, this compassionate, this full of love. And they will never understand her. That is her greatest advantage. Have faith and hope, Circe. This is only the beginning." The smoke dissolved, and the goddess vanished, leaving only hope and prophecy behind. In the present maze, Diana approaches the golden mark she had left on the wall as a navigation guide. "It's not far, Petra. Hold fast. I'm getting you out," she whispers with protective determination while carrying the wounded siren through the twisting passages. Arriving at her point of entry, she uses her magic to reopen the dimensional doorway. "Petra, I give you my word, I will not leave here without Ferdinand. May the goddesses protect you," she declares while kneeling before the young siren and motioning her through the mystical portal. Petra steps into the Chiron sanctuary and immediately collapses to the floor, her supernatural nature evident in her distress. Steve and the others rush over with immediate concern, staring at her distinctive blue skin with growing alarm. "Barbara, does she look dry to you?" Steve asks with practical worry. "Then get her some water, Steve." Ida responds quietly with urgent understanding of the siren's aquatic needs. Meanwhile, Diana moves back into the maze with determined purpose, searching for her lost friend Ferdinand despite the obvious dangers ahead. But something feels fundamentally wrong about the ancient corridors. Strange flowers begin growing along the stone walls with unnatural speed, their alien blooms releasing an intoxicating perfume into the stagnant air. The supernatural fragrance swirls around her, and before she realizes the danger, Diana breathes it deeply into her lungs. The corridors seem to melt and flow like liquid, the solid walls becoming fluid and unstable. Nightmarish shapes move within the hallucinogenic haze, swirling monsters with flesh that appears to drip and flow like living wax. "By Heki, what kind of monsters are you?" she whispers with growing disorientation as reality warps around her consciousness. She runs through the shifting passages, though the toxic scent muddles her thoughts until she forgets the reason for her desperate flight. She stumbles forward blindly until she emerges into a vast chamber. "Well, that worked rather nicely," a familiar voice observes with cruel satisfaction. Clea lounges on an elaborate throne with royal arrogance. An Amazon quite rare. A prime candidate for the pit. Diana sways from the flower's psychoactive spell as fishmen surge toward her position with coordinated menace. "Oh no you don't, Menfish," she mutters while struggling to maintain her balance and fighting capabilities. "They prefer fishmen, actually," Clea taunts with mocking correction. Diana swings wildly, punching into the tide of scaled warriors with desperate fury. "I'll make note," she shoots back with defiant humor despite her compromised condition. Finally, Clea waves her hand with obvious annoyance at the prolonged struggle, revealing someone else imprisoned in the chamber. "It's honestly amazing I conquered anything with these minions," Clea drawls with royal disdain. "Toss in the scientist. The Amazon will leap in after him." The fishmen obey their queen's command, hurling a shouting human into a yawning chasm that opens in the chamber floor. Diana doesn't hesitate despite her disorientation. She dives after the falling stranger, catching him before he hits the bottom and lowering him safely to the pit's floor. The entire pit overflows with the same strange flowers that cloud Diana's mind, their concentrated perfume creating an atmosphere of creeping insanity. "Try not to disturb the flowers too much. We'll go mad," the rescued scientist whispers with urgent warning about their deteriorating situation. But his caution comes far too late to prevent the inevitable. From the shifting hallucinogenic haze come heavy footsteps that shake the ground beneath them. Diana turns with tremendous effort, struggling to focus as the chamber seems to warp and bend around her compromised perception. Out of the toxic mist emerges a towering figure carrying a massive hammer, its entire body wreathed in living flames that dance and writhe with supernatural intensity. "Who are you?" Diana breathes with awe and growing fear as she faces this new and terrifying opponent. The creature speaks in response to her question, but its words become lost to the creeping madness that has already begun overtaking her rational mind. The flower's poison continues spreading through her system, threatening to destroy her sanity completely as she faces this burning giant in the depths of Queen Clea's underground prison. This is Geek Force. See you in the next one.